All right, so I want to do a quick introduction to fills and strokes. Since we talked about it a little bit before, I want to go a bit more in depth with that. Whenever you have an object, let's just do a circle. You're going to have two parts of that object. You're going to have what's called the stroke, which is this guy right here, which is this color. That's the line that goes around your shape. Now, even more important than that, a stroke is a line that follows your, when you're creating any line. Okay, so if I get the pencil tool over here and I start drawing that, that's not going to have any fill. That's just a stroke. This is all just stroke. Now, it won't have a fill unless I create a closed shape like this. Now, with this, I can fill it with a color, just like I didn't do right there. There we go. Okay, so now that's filled, and it also has a stroke. Let me delete these and make this bigger. Okay, I'm going to make the fill and the stroke completely different colors so you can see them better. Okay, the fill in this one is yellow and the stroke is pink. I'm going to select this and go up, and you can see here's your fill, here's your stroke size, so I can make this much bigger if I want. And here's some more information about the strokes that we're not going to talk about right now. Here's opacity, we already did that before, and here's some other options, okay, the size and some other things. If you click on, just for having fun, if you click on these, you can see some different options in terms of the fill. You can change it to different colors, and you can fill it with some gradients. We'll be talking about gradients next. You can fill it with a pattern, but for the most part, you're just going to want to fill it with a flat shape or possibly a gradient. Now, the stroke, you can change with the stroke panel here. So if you click on stroke, you can determine whether or not you want for that stroke to be inside of the lines of the shape, or if you want it to be outside. You can do dashed lines right here. You can, do a lot of different things with the stroke. And one of the things that the fills, the main thing that you can do with a fill is a gradient, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But what I want to talk about for the rest of this tutorial is what you can do with stroke. So I'm going to actually take this and I'm going to take away the fill. Okay, so I'm going to, with the fill selected, I'm going to click on the no color thing right here. Okay, now we have a stroke and we have this line. And one thing that gave me a lot of trouble when I first started working with Illustrator was, okay, this is basically kind of an effect that Illustrator is creating, but what if I want to make this into an actual shape like this? If I want to use this as the shape, well, you can go up, and something that I use all the time is this feature called Object Expand Appearance. And when I click Expand Appearance, you'll see that now that you have the lines, you'll have the anchor points all around this. This is now your object, and this is the filled object. Okay, this is the fill inside of this shape. And you can even go onto this shape, click on the color for the stroke, and now if you make the stroke bigger, yellow is probably not the best color. Let's do blue. Now you've added a stroke to your new shape. Okay, and you can do that again. Let's select that and do Object. We'll get rid of the fill. You don't have to, but we'll just do that for fun. Okay, here we have the stroke, just stroke. How do we make this into an object? Okay, let's go Object, Expand. Okay. And now this is an object. These are actually two different things. So we can select on each one and move them around. Uh-oh, what happened there? Oh, okay, I got it. Let's see. Let me go over to the Appearance panel. window. We haven't talked about this yet. Appearance, opacity. Oh, I guess what I'm doing is if I move this, it's going to make this bigger. All this area is going to be bigger. So what I need to do is group these two together. Control G. Yeah. And now they, okay, there we go. Now they work together. Control G. There we go. Now we've got two separate things. Now this is getting kind of boring. Let's go back to strokes, okay? Now I'm going to use the brush tool. You can use the brush tool or you can use the pencil tool, and I'm going to just draw a shape here. Okay? Now, actually I meant to just have this normal, so let's just put this normal. This is a normal stroke again. And you can do a lot of really cool things with the with these kinds of strokes for brushes. You can add effects. So let's go to, actually I'm going to go over here to the brush tool. So over here on the right, I'm just going to drag this over. You can take this brush, this stroke, and you can add actual brush strokes that look like they're from an actual paintbrush. And there are tons. If you go up here on the panel, you can load all kinds of brushes. So there's arrows. Let's do arrows for a second. You can do arrows. See, isn't that cool? I'm not sure when you would ever use this, but you know, once you have this, one of the nice things about working with vectors is you can always kind of update stuff. So you can take this, you can change that to a paintbrush. That looks terrible. It's too big, so let's change the size down. Okay. There's another kind of interesting thing. Let's see what other options there are. Open brush library. I really like the artistic one, so let's do paintbrush. See what we get there. Okay, paintbrush. As long as we've got this selected, if we click on this, it's going to apply those that brush to your lines. Okay, and whenever we paint something new, it's going to have that brush on it, and we can always just select these two, for example, and change them, or change them here, change them here, and you know, there's a million different ways to use these. But let's say we're just going to do. You know, let's do like the Touchstone logo. I'm just going to make a circle here. And then on top of that, in white, I'm going to paint. I'm just going to paint a shape in front of that. I'm going to change that color to white just so we see it. And this is not a great example. Actually, let me just paint a line down. There we go. And let's see, I'll change that a little bit. All right, let's make that a little bigger. That's too much. Okay, that's okay. I mean, this isn't, it's not going to win the awards. All right, now let's take that stroke and we can go up again and do rasterize appearance. Now we've got a shape. And now what can we do? We can go in and use the shape tool and delete that. And I believe, well, actually we have two separate sides. Let's group these together. Group, okay. Now we've got an object. And, you know, that gives you something kind of interesting, kind of real looking. There's a little piece that fell off there. Anyway, so that just gives you an idea of the things you can do with the with strokes, okay? Strokes are amazingly powerful, and, you know, we'll touch a little bit more on those later, but I just wanted to give you a quick idea of what they were.